Ilkay Gundogan is set to return home to the Etihad this summer. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is going to center around this man right here, Ilkay Gundogan, who today it has been confirmed that he'll be returning to the Etihad Stadium and Manchester City on a free transfer, as confirmed by the likes of Fabrizio Romano. We're going to be talking about this big transfer situation. We're going to be talking about this big transfer story and everything else in between about Gundogan, about City and everything else. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and probably greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking and feeling. Use and abuse that comment section, people, with your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings. Whatever you want to call it, that'll make for great interesting reading, I'm sure. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's talk Ilkay Gundogan, and I move back to Manchester City. This is a big move by Gundogan and City, in my opinion. This is really a story that has escalated very quickly over the past few days. This is really a big move by City that is obviously as free of a transfer as you're going to get. This is a free transfer for Gundogan. He's only signed on the one-year deal initially. And as far as what a stopgap goes, you don't get much better. He's a guy who obviously knows the club inside and out from his time there. He only moved away from the Etihad last season. He's a guy who made a big name for himself at Manchester City. Went down as a bit of a club legend in a lot of people's eyes. Guy who came up clutch so many times for Manchester City in massive moments, was so successful with City under Pep Guardiola in those massive moments. It's relatively a no-brainer, to be honest with you, in terms of signing a player of his quality and of his caliber. It makes perfect sense. Like I say, this story has really escalated in the past few days, and today it was confirmed by Romano that Gundogan will be heading back to Manchester City. On X/Twitter, Romano stated that Ilkay Gundogan back to Manchester City. Here we go. Deal in place with German midfielder to join on contract valid until June 2025. Agreement reached after positive talks in the last 48 hours, and Pep Guardiola said yes, as revealed yesterday. Gundogan will leave Barca for free. So the story here is that Gundogan has signed on a one-year deal. He's given up the last 2 years of salary at Barcelona. He arrives with Pep Guardiola giving the green light on this. Like I said, I think this is a no-brainer. I think it's a no-brainer in terms of a free transfer. There are going to be certain people that may question his age. There are maybe some people that will question maybe having a year out of Manchester City, maybe having a year out of the Premier League, getting a year older, maybe may take its toll on him over time. But this is a proper professional. This is a guy that was at the peak of his powers, one of the best midfielders on the planet. So underrated, in my opinion, during his time at Manchester City. So important to Manchester City that maybe he didn't quite get the headlines and the kind of fanfare that the likes of, your Kevin De Bruyne's and your Erling Haaland's and, your Phil Foden's kind of got. This guy kind of just did his stuff quietly in the background and did so effectively. But this is obviously a transfer that is going to improve City in the midfield. And it's not just going to improve them in the midfield, but it's going to improve them in other aspects as well. Like, don't get me wrong, his prime objective is that midfield area. His prime objective is to be full of quality in the midfield area. But for a player like Gundogan, who is very calm and composed on the ball, he's a leader, he's experienced. He is he's a decent goal scorer when it comes to scoring in big moments. A box crasher, arriving in the box late, just has this sixth sense about him of knowing when to arrive in the penalty area to try and get on the end of a cross or something. This guy has it all. We all know the qualities, the attributes, the skill set of Ilkay Gundogan, and it's going to work wonders for this Manchester City side who, let's face it, after losing him last year, had a Gundogan-shaped hole that they didn't quite fill and haven't quite filled since. They went for Mateo Kovacic. It's been hit and miss, I think, for Kovacic at certain times across his only year with Man City. I'm expecting him to maybe get better in a City side, but obviously only time will tell on that. They tried to get they went and got Mateus Nunes, but Nunes did strike me at the time as a bit of a panic signing. You kind of trust it because, you know, maybe Pep Guardiola gave the green light on that transfer. So you kind of go, okay, not exactly convinced, but I'll trust it if Pep trusts it. And it hadn't quite worked out over the past year or so. Surprise, surprise, Gundogan fits the Gundogan-size hole that he left when he left for Barcelona last year. Surprise, surprise. So it's perfect in my opinion. It's a guy who won't need an adapting period. He won't need time to adapt. He knows the Premier League inside and out. He knows Manchester City inside and out. He knows Pep Guardiola's style inside and out. So this is really a guy who will be or should be effective and should hit the ground running straight away. He won't need a bedding in period. He won't need to kind of bleed into the squad gradually. He can just absolutely hit the ground running straight away. And like I say, he's going to be a big addition to this Man City side in terms of rotation, in terms of experience and leadership. You also see the kind of midfielders and the kind of players that City are producing in their academy right now. Like, the fruits of their academy is really starting to show. We've already seen, you know, the likes of Phil Foden obviously come through. We've seen Rico Lewis come through. Oscar Bob is obviously coming through. And then obviously we're now starting to see the likes of O'Reilly. We're starting to see the likes of McAtee, just to name a couple. This guy on the pitch is going to be a brilliant addition to this side, but also off the pitch as well, to the club, to the squad, to the youth setup. This guy is going to be a leader, a role model that they can look up to, they can learn from, they can experience from. This guy is going to be so important, I believe, to Manchester City over the course of the next year, on and off the pitch, that this is probably one of the best free transfers you're ever going to see. And as far as free transfers go, of course, not every... Even when they masquerade it as a free transfer, but it's not exactly going to be a free transfer, is it? There is going to be money paid, but it's as close to a free transfer as you're going to get in this day and age. And I just think with everything that Gundogan offers, with all the experience and everything that he's got, and the leadership qualities, you know, his technical ability, his calm under pressure, everything that this guy possesses, everything we know about this guy, everything that we loved about this guy at the time when he was in the Premier League, whether you didn't like him or not, you know, as a rival fan, didn't like him because he would always come up clutch for Manchester City, but I could always respect him for how amazing of a midfielder he was, how amazing of a player that he was. And so, yeah, I like this move by City. Does this maybe force them into being stronger contenders for the Premier League title again this season? Absolutely, of course this does. Reinforcing that midfield is obviously going to be a big, a major addition for City, and of course this is going to really help them in their quest for another Premier League title, their potentially 5th Premier League title in a row. So of course that's going to strengthen their case. I still think City may have something up their sleeve in terms of maybe an attacker. Even if it is like a loan move or something. I know City don't tend to normally go for loan moves, but there could be something in the works there depending on how serious the Savio injury may be. If it is serious, I don't think it is serious, but you know, Oscar Bob's injury is certainly serious. Do they maybe go for an attacker to obviously cover for the loss of Julian Alvarez? That's going to be interesting to see. We are obviously just under 2 weeks away from the transfer window closing, so that's going to be interesting to note. But yeah, I'm very much interested to see how this one plays out. I'm very much interested to see how the rest of City's transfer window does play out. Do they go for another player? That's going to be interesting. But like I say, for a free transfer for the kind of player that Ilkay Gundogan is, I don't think you can get much better than him, in all honesty. And yeah, I really rate this guy. I really rate this signing. Some will look at his age and question it, but you know, this is it's huge. It's absolutely huge for City. It's huge for Gundogan. It's going to be an incredible welcome home for a City legend. And yeah, I think it's something for City fans to really get on board with. And like I say, for a 1-year deal, for a stopgap signing, that is going to be for the here and now. It would signal to me that maybe City have got their eye on someone later on down the line, and maybe they just need one player just to get them through this season. They know how close Arsenal have pushed them in the past couple of years. They just need that extra little something in the midfield, and Gundogan certainly will provide that. And then at the end of next season, maybe Gundogan again leaves, and maybe City bring in someone who is for the longer term future. Maybe they've got their eye on someone who might not necessarily be available yet, but could be available in a year's time. In a year's time for the longer term future, and for them the hope of longer term success at Manchester City. But we'll wait and see on that. Obviously, they'll cross that bridge when they come to it. Ilkay Gundogan back to Manchester City is a here we go by Fabrizio Romano. We are just waiting the pending official announcement from the club on this, but everything does seem to be in place for this move to go ahead. And what a signing that this will be for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. There you have it. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this transfer move? What do you make of Ilkay Gundogan returning home to the Etihad and Manchester City this summer on a free transfer from Barcelona? Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That'll make for great, interesting reading, I'm sure, down below. Would love to hear from you all. Please do use and abuse that comment section, people. Talk to me on this transfer story. Otherwise, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.